Welcome to the Free Kick Podcast. My name is Todd, and there is still playoff soccer being played in Philadelphia as the Philadelphia Union 2 defeated Crown Legacy on penalty kicks this past Saturday by a score of 4-3. And what a exciting game it was. The first time on this podcast I have ever talked about the Union's second team, and it's only fitting that I have 8 or 9 clips to play from that game. And so because of that, I don't want to spend too much time talking. I want you guys to hear from players and coaches, and I want to skip 3 stars. I want to skip Blunder of the Week, and I don't want to play the news soundbite that we always do. Let's get straight into the news, because there's one topic that I want to talk about, and I really hate starting a podcast this way, but it needs to be done. And I'm sure all of you guys have seen it by now, but we're just reading so many different articles, seeing so many different videos. When I was putting together my article and watching all these teams, people send their condolences to the Trent family, to the Philadelphia Union organization. Yeah, it really moved me. And if you guys hadn't seen the news yet, it's really, really tragic. Philadelphia Union goalkeeper Holden Trent dies at the age of 25, and I'm speechless, really. And I never got the chance to ever speak to Holden since covering this team. But just knowing that somebody so young, taken way too short, my thoughts and prayers go out to the Trent family, to his fiance, to friends, to the entire Philadelphia Union organization. It's devastating. It's heartbreaking, and I don't know how they get by. Yeah, they're going to need a lot of thoughts and prayers, and people being there for them by their sides. And I don't know, just so young, 25 years old. And I think the one thing that I keep coming back to is thinking about how proud Holden's family, his fiance, his friends, the entire Greensboro, North Carolina community felt seeing Holden have his name called in the 2023 MLS Super Draft. It's got to be super special, right? This is a kid who went to High Point University, and it's not a powerhouse by any means. And he finished his career at High Point with 145 saves and 52 starts. He held a 1 goal against record in 22 shutouts. That is insane. First time ever in High Point University's history that the Panthers won an NCAA tournament game, and they had a shutout against rivals UNC in 2022. He had huge wins against ranked opponents in number 25 Coastal Carolina in 2021, a 1-0 win. Against number 7 Maryland in 2022, a 2-1 win. Both of those wins were the 4th and 5th win ever against a ranked opponent for the university. And for Trent to be involved in those games, that's huge. And to see him be a best 11 second team player in 2022, a Big South All-Conference first-team player from 2020 to 2022, Big South Goalkeeper of the Year in 2021 and 2022, the National Team of the Week in 2022 of October. This kid was Mr. Panther himself, a university legend, a soccer program legend. And to know that he set all these records, he achieved so much at a high point that it caught the attention of a professional soccer team, that they were willing to draft him. There had to be so much pride in that family and his fiance and friends in that university. And so that's what I keep coming back to, thinking about all the joy that family felt seeing Holden get his name called and signing a professional contract with the Philadelphia Union. And yeah, injuries played a part in him never featuring for the Union's first team. He had 6 appearances with Union 2, played once this season for Union 2 against New York Red Bulls. And yeah, unfortunately just had so many injuries in his young career, but this is a kid who kept pushing back to get back to the field. And yeah, I wish I would have had an opportunity to speak to him, but to see all these comments on social media from players. And one thing that's really touching to me as well is seeing pictures and videos that former Philadelphia Union goalkeeper Joe Bendick posted the last couple of days on Instagram. And yeah, my heart just breaks for everybody that knew Holden. And I feel just devastated. And again, just thoughts and prayers with the family, friends, fiance, the organization. And day by day, some days are going to be harder than others. And I want to play a clip from Marlon LeBlanc talking about telling the second team and them going out on the field, getting the victory for Holden, and just what Holden meant to the Philadelphia Union organization.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, we continue to send our prayers, our best wishes and our condolences to the Trent family. He was a big inspiration for this group today. And we went in there and we talked about, really found out maybe half hours before I was supposed to meet with the team. We went into the room and we talked to the guys, Holden, his act of selflessness I don't even know if I'm supposed to say it, but he's an organ donor and he was a hero. And we went in that room and we said to the guys, we got to make sure that we have an opportunity to talk about him afterwards. And it's not the time to feel sorry for ourselves. The guy went out a hero today, and we got to make sure that people know about it. And the only way we're going to let people know about it is if we go out and win this game, and I get a chance to go out in front of all you guys and tell you about it, that they get an opportunity because people still care that we've won, and they get to talk about him for another week. And we didn't want to make tonight just about Holden, but we wanted to make sure that we honored him and we didn't mourn him. And I think the guys went out today and honored him with the performance. And he's not necessarily super close to this is the second team, right? He's graduated from the second team to the first team, but these guys were speaking for the organization today, and I thought they spoke loud for the organization today with the way that they performed and the way that they ground out an incredible result. And now I have an opportunity with this mic in front of me to tell you, that those guys grew up in that locker room. They've grown up all year long, and this was another part of the resilience that needed to be shown, and they were prepared for it. And so I'm really proud of them for that.
Yeah, that's strong words from head coach Marlon LeBlanc there. And to see such a young team go out there and get a result and play for Holden and get the victory for Holden. Tremendous, tremendous stuff. But to see just so many people share memories, thoughts on Holden, it's really touching. And Julian Kranza scored his second goal this weekend with Feyenoord, and after he scored, he lifted up his shirt and said, "Rest in peace, Holden." And that's really special, man. It speaks of the character of Julian Kranza, who's no longer with the organization, right? He's off doing his thing in Europe, playing in the Netherlands, playing in the Champions League. And there's a player who doesn't forget his teammates, doesn't forget where he comes from. And that was really, really special from Julian Carranza. And it was tough when the Union sold Carranza, because there will never be another Julian Carranza at the club. And you're proud of him for what he achieved at the club, how he represented the club. And then he goes and does a gesture like this. Rest in peace, Holden. What a teammate, what a person, and what a great ambassador for the Philadelphia Union. And I can't say enough great things about Julian Carranza. Fortunate to have been able to speak to him a couple times when he was at the club, and he's always been very, very kind to me. And I'm not surprised by seeing Julian do this, but for Julian to bring attention like this worldwide, and yes, Holden Trent is getting attention worldwide with his passing. It's devastating, but well done to Julian Carranza. And yeah, it's difficult to talk about this. And like I said, I'm sorry that this is how we had to start the podcast, but yeah, this is very, very important to speak about. And I just wanted to share my thoughts and, get people up to date that maybe weren't aware of Holden Trent passing away at the age of 25. 3 more things I'll mention about this, and we'll try to move on to happier things. The Philadelphia Union, they released a statement, if you guys hadn't seen that. And the statement reads, "The Philadelphia Union is devastated by the heartbreaking passing of Holden Trent. While he was a wonderful player, fierce competitor, he was more importantly a devoted son, brother, fiancé, and teammate who made those around him better. He embodied the true meaning of determination, dedication, and perseverance, and he will be deeply missed. We extend our greatest sympathies to his family, his fiancé, and his friends." And Holden's family had posted on Thursday on Instagram that he was admitted to the ICU, and people were caught by surprise. And yeah, there's a lot of people asking how Holden died and wanting all this type of information, and none of that's been provided. And I get people are curious, but it's like, it's really none of anybody's business how Holden passed. Yes, we live in a society where everybody wants to know everything, but it's up to the family, right? If they want to make that known, whatever the reason may be. But the fact of the matter is, a kid, way too young, 25 years old, passes away way too soon. Holden's family released a statement themselves on Holden's Instagram saying, "We want to thank everyone for your thoughts and prayers during this difficult time. Holden passed away this afternoon, surrounded by his family and friends. Details on services and celebration of life are forthcoming. Our family is deeply touched to see and experience the love you all have for Holden. Love, Holden's family." And so shout out to Jose Nunez for getting this information, posting it on his Twitter, that High Point University has announced a celebration of life to honor Holden Trent on November 3rd at 2 p.m. in Greensboro, North Carolina. The university has requested no media photography be present at the memorial. In lieu of flowers, the family requests donations to be made to the Holden Trent Goal 13 Foundation, an organization established to honor Holden's legacy by supporting other athletes, or the Holden Trent Soccer Scholarship at High Point University, which will benefit a first-generation player on the High Point University soccer team who exemplifies leadership and dedication to the sport. And I'll leave a link if you guys want to donate in the show description. But this is great stuff by the family to set this up to honor Holden. And it's just devastating news. But let's go on and try to talk about something more happier, and that's Philadelphia Union 2 continuing to win in the playoffs, pick up their second win this season in the MLS Next playoffs, defeating Crown Legacy, like I said, 4-3 on penalties. That game was tied 1-1, went into extra time. Couldn't find a winner, so they went on to penalties. And I have a lot of thoughts on how this team performed. A lot of clips lined up, and I guess I'll start off by saying watching Union 2 reminded me a lot of the first team. 8 of 18 shots were on target for Union 2. They struggled to finish the chances, just like the Union. Yes, it was good goalkeeping by Crown Legacy, who's Charlotte FC's second team. But look, a lot of chances created for them in this game, especially inside that 18-yard box. And they were only able to get one past the goalie. And it wasn't even a goal from open play. It was a set-piece goal. And again, you see a lot of correlation between the first team and the second team, where the Union's first team had 18 or 19 goals from set pieces this season. We see Union 2 scoring goals from set pieces. And yeah, you see, unfortunately, the finishing ability trickling down to the second team. And it was a really good offensive performance in terms of creating chances, transitioning quickly, winning that ball back. And that's exactly how the Union play. I mean, the identity is clear. And for people who don't pay attention to the academy, the second team, every single team plays the first way, has the same identity as the Union's main team. They all play that 4-4-2 diamond. And you saw a lot of the same from the second team as you do the first. And I thought, for honestly, the whole game, really, Union 2 were the better team. And they give up a late equalizer to Crown Legacy in the 88th minute, I believe it was. 88th minute, yeah. And it's unfortunate because, a lot of moments for Union 2 in this game to go up by multiple goals. And they're not able to capitalize. And so the one thing they just continue to do is play good defense, blocking shots. Andrew Rick only had to make 2 saves in this game. And you saw Marlon LeBlanc sub out some key players in this game. Kevin Sullivan came out, which, maybe is a little shocking to people because Kevin Sullivan is the star of this team. But I'll have more thoughts specifically on the team here in a bit. Kevin Sullivan comes out in this game. You see Markus Anderson come out in this game. You see Eddie Davis come out in this game. You see a player like Carlos Rojas, who I thought was excellent. Great change there by Marlon LeBlanc to play him centrally in the midfield and play Nick Pariano a little bit higher up on the field. Salavilas, I thought, came in and provided good pressing. Had a couple opportunities. Jose Riasco, back from Uruguay, done his loan. He had a chance to score in this game after a great ball forward by Neil Pierre. And this team, despite conceding late, they didn't break. It's easy to completely lose your confidence where you get told the news about Holden Trent before the match, and to come out here and still play the way that they did and, use Holden as a motivation to get a win for him. And you can see the goal. Yeah, you can say it's easy to just throw down the gloves and say, you know what, that's it, we're done. But this team's resilient, and they showed fight. They had a chance with Alawetu Makanya to score a second goal. He's the player who scored the first goal off of the corner kick. Good header by Makanya. You had Makanya then almost get a second, and then the ball falls to Neil Pierre. It looked like potentially the ball goes in the back of the net. There's no VAR, and so the linesmen say, nope, didn't cross the line. Ball still in play, and a little bit hard done there. And you can even say that the goal that Crown Legacy scored, you could say that looked a little offsides. But again, no VAR, and you play until the whistle. And this team definitely could have just threw down the gloves, like I said, and said, you know what, we gave up a goal. We're not finishing our chances. We're not scoring from open play. We're done. It's just not our day. This is a horrible day with the news that we got. But to the credit, that's not what they did at all. Terrific performance by them to just to grind out a result. And one player that grinded out for 45 minutes was Markus Anderson. I thought he had a terrific game for Union 2 in terms of his pressing, winning back the ball with interceptions, with blocks. Really, really good performance by Markus. And I asked Marlon LeBlanc after the game just to assess his performance and why he was only able to go for 45 minutes. And this is what Marlon had to say.
Yeah, he's just dealing with a little tendonitis, and he's been dealing with it for a while. And it was in that moment he thought it was the best thing for the team to change him, especially knowing that halftime is the free window, and rather than burn a window if it continues to bother him, 5 minutes in. But I thought Markus was physical. He matched the physicality of what they have in their back line. Eddie's not he's let's call him lean, but he brings pace, so it's a little bit different, right? And the ability to kind of have six in one, half dozen another. It's a good pairing between Markus and Eddie. One brings a little bit of the brawn, the other one brings a little bit of the speed. I thought Markus was good in his hold-up play. He was physical against the ball. Probably got called for three or four fouls himself as a forward. There was a forward here not too long ago, Julian Carranza, that I think led the league in fouls at one stage. And so to have that little bit of bite up front also helps mitigate maybe a little bit of the physical stuff that they do against the rest of the younger guys.
Yeah, and Markus was active for his 45 minutes. And it's unfortunate that he could only go 45 minutes because of dealing with tendonitis. But this is a player that's had so many injuries this season. And this is his first year with the club, and to see it go the way that it's gone is probably not how he would have hoped coming over from Spain. And no, I'm not going to try and say that club's name. Ask Jose Nunez. He's the one who had to teach me how to say it the first time. Learned it for one episode only, and not going to try to say that once again. But you look, it's been hamstring injuries, concussions, and you could do nothing about a concussion. It is so unfortunate to have a concussion injury. Any injury is unfortunate to have, right? But, the muscle injuries and everything, of course, maybe you can do a little bit different things to get those right. And that's actually what Markus Anderson said after the game. I asked him, it's been a tough season with the injuries. How have you been able to have the mentality just to get right back to work when you come back from those injuries? And this is what Markus had to say.
Yeah, it's kind of hard with all the injuries, obviously. It's mentally draining. And at the end of the day, I just got to pick my head up and keep going. That's part of this job, part of this profession. And got to get better, got to be fit, got to get my quads better and be ready for the next game.
Yeah, he says, got to get my quads better. And yeah, I'm sure. You look at a player like Quinn Sullivan. That dude never misses leg day. Look at those quads. Insane. So got to get Markus Anderson on the same routine that Quinn Sullivan's on. But yeah, this team, this whole organization does such a good job with player injuries and getting them back from injuries and keeping them healthy for the most part. Jim Curtin said it, I believe, prior to the Cincinnati game, that they've actually been one of the teams that have had the fewest injuries in MLS. And so for the most part, the team's been pretty healthy. Yes, Andre Blake missed majority of the season. Yes, there was injuries to Jack Elliott. Damian Lowe, I believe, had a couple injuries. Did Jose Martinez have injuries? There's been players here and there that have missed games, but when you look around the league for how long some teams have missed players, how many players have been missing from certain teams, yeah, the Union are fortunate not to have all of those injuries. But Markus Anderson is one of those players that unfortunately had the injury bug in his first season. And like you said, you just got to keep going. You can't dwell on it too much. You just got to pick yourself back up and get back to work. And so Markus Anderson, I thought, had a terrific game. If you look at his stats, 2 goals in his last 4 games for Union 2. 9 out of his 13 shots taken have been on target. 11 fouls conceded, 8 fouls suffered. And you heard Marlon there talking about the physicality, wanting to play Eddie and Markus together. They have good chemistry. One brings the brawl, being Markus, and then the other one brings speed, which is Eddie Davis. And yeah, it's a good combination up there. And I mean, you saw it within the first 5 minutes of this game, just the pressing by Markus Anderson, making it difficult for the Crown Legacy center backs, putting pressure on them, fouling them. And center backs aren't used to being fouled. They're the ones that are doing the fouling. And it's a great comparison that Marlon did, talking about Julian Kranz's work rate. It's what we loved about Julian is how difficult he made it for center backs, not making it easy whatsoever, making it very, very physical for them. And yeah, he picked up a lot of yellow cards, but I think that's what fans loved about Julian. Yes, he scored a lot of goals, but his work off the ball, you can't teach that. You got to want that. And I saw that from Markus Anderson against Crown Legacy. And yeah, he's unfortunate for that mistake that he made against Cincinnati months ago where they give up the goal. Luciano Acosta goes down and scores 4-3, and that's all she wrote. And unfortunately for Markus, yeah, no more opportunities with the first team after that. Just huge mistake. But he's a young player. He's 20 years old. First time playing in MLS, learning a new team, a new style. And mistakes like that are going to happen for young players. And yes, it's unfortunate when they do, but look, he's a player that's going to learn from that. And the one thing that you want to see, you want to see a player working hard off the ball. That is not up for negotiations with this Union staff. If you're not going to work hard off the ball, you are not going to last very long in Philadelphia. And Markus Anderson possesses that. And I think, gets his body healthy, continues to have a good playoffs with Union 2, comes in fit in preseason. Yeah, we could absolutely see more of Markus Anderson next season for the Union's first team. Talking point number three I want to talk about tonight is the defensive effort by Union 2. They only give up 3 shots on target all game long in 120 minutes played. They only give up 3 shots on target. That is great defensive effort from this team. The previous week against New York City, only gave up 1 shot on target. This team is locked down defensively. And you hear Jim Curtin talk about all the time, we're built from the back. We're built from the defense. Defense is our identity. And again, I started the episode talking about, you see the similarities between the first team and the second team. Well, this second team, phenomenal in getting blocks, winning second balls, pressing, tackling. And this is exactly what you want from a Union team. This is what Marlon LeBlanc had to say from the defensive effort from his team on the night.
Yeah, it's a shame that we don't get the shutout to go along with the performance. But it's been like that all year long. There's not a team that gives up fewer shots on goal over the 30 games that have been played this year than us. We could probably have a few more shutouts to go along with the performance, but it was a fantastic team defensive performance. Look, we press, we go after teams. And when you do that, you give up space in behind. And we were resilient in transition moments when we had to sprint and get back, and we had to win second balls. They were probably one of the more direct teams that we've played against this year. You could have stuck a Union kid on their team and probably not told the difference. But I thought our willingness to battle, and they had some good, fast, pacey, athletic older guys up front to play against. A young Neil Pierre, Owetha McConaughey is only 20 years old. Gavin Wetzel's 18. Frankie's 18. I thought they held up fantastic, but it wasn't just the back four. Carlos Rojas came in and gave us a little bit more metal in the middle. And it worked out to be a pretty good change. I think Salalivas came in and gave us a little bit more fresh pressing. It was a collective effort in those regards. And then, like I said, Andy makes the saves and PKs, and I think it was a just result for the way that we performed today.
Yeah, I mean, would I say that, and I'll steal a phrase from Jim Curtin, would I say it's a complete 90 performance? No. There were defensive mistakes at time. Charlotte definitely could have scored in the 118th minute, if I'm not mistaken, that number was. You had McConaughey keeping Singh one side. Neil Pierre should have been more centrally on the cross that was sent in. Because I tweeted out this play, I recorded it, and I didn't realize how big of a save this was by Frankie Westfield. I knew it was big at the time when I posted it on Twitter when it happened during the game. But then going back and rewatching that clip, yeah, this was not a good play. And this is why you can see Jim Curtin saying Alawetu Makanya is not ready for the first team yet. It's little mistakes like this that you just cannot have at the first team level. If you're playing at a higher level, you're going to get punished, where your 4 other defenders are all in line and you're so far back. Why aren't you in line with the rest of your defenders? And so you keep the attacker on side. And unfortunately, Charlotte doesn't capitalize on it. Neil Pierre, great player. We're going to talk about him here in a second. But he should have been more centrally inside the box. The Union left Frankie Westfield in a 2v1 situation at the back post. And yes, Frankie allows the attacker to get goal side of him. But Frankie does well to time his header and clear that ball out. Because if Frankie doesn't win that header, the player that's behind him is now going to get a clear shot on Andrew Rick's goal. And so that's a huge moment there by Frankie Westfield. I thought Frankie was fantastic, and we saw him recently get caught up with the U20s, I believe it was, in Chile a few weeks ago. His first call up with a U.S. youth national team. And this is a kid that I would not be surprised if he gets a first team homegrown contract. It looked like he was all set to go to Penn State, gets a Union 2 contract, and he's impressed. He's really impressed with Union 2 and continues to get better. And he's just 18 years old. He'll be 19 come December. But the Union may have another Nathan Harriel and Frankie Westfield. And it's so hard judging these Union 2 players when the competition that they're playing against isn't the greatest competition. I mean, some of these guys in their mid-20s playing MLS Next Pro, yeah, you're probably not going to have a long career going for it. And for those guys not to have opportunities in the USL 2, USL 1, it probably tells you a lot about the competition. But at the same time, right, I mean, you look at this Union team, so young. And I'll go over the numbers between Crown Legacy and Union 2 here in a bit. But it is impressive seeing a young Union 2 squad go up against teams that are much older than them. Even though, you know, they may not be the most talented, you're still going up against older players. And that is going to help you with the physicality. That is going to help you for the next step in your career. And so I can look at this Union 2 team and see a lot of players that I think are going to help the first team in the future. I look at a CJ Olney, who was excellent. Frankie Westfield, excellent. Andrew Rick, excellent. Neil Pierre, excellent. David Vasquez, excellent. Kevin Sullivan, I thought he was good. Carlos Rojas, a young Venezuelan, 20 years old, is a center back, can play a defensive midfielder. I think the Union could potentially have another quality Venezuelan on their hands. I'll be curious to see, you know, how he continues to progress. And if he continues to progress in a positive light, could you potentially see him getting a first team contract? I do. I really do. We know the Union love the Venezuelans, and it all started with Jose Martinez. And once they had success with him, it's like, let's keep hitting up Venezuela for young, unproven players. Let's see if we can uncover other gems. And so, yeah, he's a player too that I would keep an eye on going forward. I haven't watched a ton of Union 2 games, and so maybe there's other players that have impressed during the season for you guys that watch week in, week out. But just watching 4 games this season, watching this game against Crown Legacy, yeah, Westfield, Rick, Pierre, Kevin Sullivan, David Vasquez, CJ Olney, excellent players. And then Carlos Rojas too. Markus Anderson, thought he was good too. So it's a lot of good coming out of Union 2, and hopefully some of these guys can continue to get homegrown deals. Looking at a Frankie Westfield, a Macanya. We know David Vasquez, CJ Olney, Andrew Rick all got their homegrown deals this season. And there's a team that's going to believe in the youth. And I know that doesn't sit well with the fan base when they want actual established first team talent getting signed. But it's also important taking care of your young talent that is going to be a part of your future. And I know people will say, well, and Kai Wagner said this in the clip we played last episode. Yeah, it's great having homegrowns and everything, but they're not going to help us win games right now in the present. It's true. But at the same time, you know, these guys, if they continue to progress the way that they're progressing, they are going to be valuable players. Maybe not right now, but down the line, absolutely. I do, and this is maybe a hot take. If Jack McGlynn winds up getting sold in the winter, I would not be surprised if we see CJ Olney playing 500 minutes next season with the Union. Is that a hot take? Am I giving you guys my first hot take for the 2025 season? You guys can tell me if that's a hot take or not. I mean, I don't think so. I mean, this kid's special. CJ Olney is a special player. But let's go on to Andrew Rick, just talking about his team's defensive effort on the night, making his job very, very simple.
To be able to know going into a game that these guys are going to scuff out 90% of the chances, it makes my job a lot easier, and I appreciate them for that.
Yeah, so a short, simple message by Andrew Rick, just shouting out his defense, thanking them for making his life more simple in scuffing out chances. Because like I said, I mean, you see these guys put the bodies on the line, blocking shots, winning those 50-50 balls, winning tackles, getting to the loose balls. These guys are hard workers. And back-to-back games now, they've made life easy for Andrew Rick in net, not giving up any meaningful chances. And yes, you want to have Andrew Rick back there protecting your net when you give up those chances. You want Andrew Rick to be at the top of his game. Absolutely was at his top of the game in the penalty shootout, saving 2 penalties. Great performance by him. But defensively, yeah, really, really good stuff. And you can talk about scuffing out those chances, but one thing I was really impressed by was Neil Pierre's long balls. Fantastic for a 17-year-old. I would say that his ball playing abilities probably advanced at his age, at 17 years old. Watching the chances that he created, how he can hit the balls with ease, switching fields left to right, right to left, creating a couple chances. This is a player that the Union need to lock down. Absolutely need to lock down. Because we've seen Austin Trusty come through. We've seen Mark McKenzie come through. And I do believe that Neil Pierre has the ability to be the best Union homegrown center back this club has potentially ever seen. He's playing that good. He's playing at such a high level. We see him constantly called up with the youth national team. And yes, playing for the youth national team doesn't mean much because we've seen players like Jeremy Raffanello, Anthony Fontana, Cole Turner, Brandon Craig get caught up at the youth level. And yeah, look at where their careers are at. It doesn't look like they'll ever get opportunities with the first team. Definitely not Fontana. Definitely not Cole Turner. Brandon Craig, maybe. But the truth of the matter is, like, Union have had a lot of players get called up to their youth national teams, and that's great and everything. It tells you that you're a talented player. You're one of the best players in your age group. Sometimes some of these guys are playing up a level or two. And so that tells you they're talented, and then for whatever reason, maybe sometimes they are going to hit a roadblock, and how you projected they were going to progress, they don't really project that way. They hit a stumbling block and they are what they are. But a player like Neil Pierre, I don't believe that's going to be the case for him. I mean, there are so many highlights I posted out there. Jose Nunez did too with his ball playing ability. It's insane for a 17-year-old and a center back at that. And what do the Union love in their center backs? Playing those long balls, playing direct, switching the field. And now you have another one in Neil Pierre. Whew, you got to get this kid signed to a homegrown contract. You absolutely have to get him signed. Would be a huge loss for the club if he does not stay. But we have about 4 more clips to play. Don't want to spend too many minutes giving my thoughts and stuff. I just want you guys to hear from Marlon LeBlanc and the players. And so actually, prior to this game, I asked Marlon, it seems like the club has some momentum going in their favor. They pick up their first playoff win against New York City. They got to feel confident now with that. They know the game is going to be at Subaru Park. What's been the biggest growth this season that he's seen in his young squad? And this is what he had to say.
I think I can be a little sarcastic. I think puberty would be an area of growth for quite a few of our guys. They've literally gotten older and grown. So from that side of things, when you're dealing with such a young group, I think that's an easy one for me to throw out there. I think along the same lines, the growth of the maturity of becoming pros. They're not all signed pros, but you'd be hard pressed to tell me that they're not pros already. To be 14, 15, 16, playing against grown men and adults, and to be successful in the way they've been, to go through the process that they've had to go through, all of that has been growth. I think the ability to execute tactically, if you ever watch our team play, you'll pretty much see adjustments in our team in the second half that they come out of the locker room, but sometimes potentially better than what they were going into the locker room. And a lot of that has to do with their ability to take information and process information and put it into practice. And that's been really an area of growth for this group. But overall, I think if you were to watch this team over the years, and I say years because guys like Frankie Westfield, David Vasquez, CJ Olney, they were playing in this team my first year in Next Pro with this group, so they're part of that growth process as well. You've seen really an evolution of not just the individual, but the culture of the group. Maybe 3 years ago, we give up a goal or two, and we're down 2 goals, it might end up 4 or 5. Now you've seen this team grow where you're almost anticipating and expecting and waiting for them to come back and win the game. And so the resiliency has been a massive improvement in this group too. So, look, I think I could probably go on over 100 ways. I have nothing but praise for this group and these players. They've been outstanding to work with. They make me look better than I am as a coach. And I'm just awfully proud of what they've accomplished so far. They've certainly probably outperformed everyone's expectations for what they were capable of. But, if you watch us week to week, you almost say they keep getting better and better. And hopefully we can do that for a few more weeks.
Yeah, this team certainly is getting better and better. And you watch just how they faced against an older team in Crown Legacy, where their starting lineup was the average age of 20.4, where Union 2 were 18.1. You throw in the players that were subbed in for Crown Legacy and combine them with the starting 11, the average age comes out to be 20.9. You combine who the Union had coming off the bench, and the average age is 18.4. Yes, a 2-year age difference. Physically developed players. They had a couple 24-year-olds out on the field, Crown Legacy. And some of these younger players, the 18-year-olds, the Kevin Sullivans of the world, 16-year-old, did well physically to be in this game. And Marlon talks about the resiliency from this group. And I do feel bad that I didn't watch more Union 2 games this season, get to more games this season. And it's difficult, right? Where some of these games are played during the week. You have 4 o'clock kickoffs, and those are impossible to get to, impossible to watch when you're at work. And it sucks that there's no replays of this game. And I could go on a million reasons why MLS Next Pro is a joke of a league. And a big part of that is not having replays of the game. And, you want to grow this league. You want people to take you serious. Can't do something as basic as having replays of your games. It's really, really, really poor. But I get it. It's second team games. How many people care about second team games? And that's how we'll end the episode, playing a clip about, just how proud this coaching staff, these players are to see the fans come out to the stadium. But yeah, they're so resilient, this team. And to be in every single match, and like Marlon said, they've outperformed everyone's expectations. Absolutely. And Marlon has talked multiple times this season how, his job is to develop these players, and winning's not really part of the equation. You want these players getting better. But look at them. They finished second in the Eastern Conference this season. Second. They finished tied for first in terms of goals scored with 59 during the regular season. And this is a team that is young, very, very young. And it doesn't matter, right? That they're a whole bunch of 16, 17, 18-year-olds. It doesn't matter to them. If you're talented, you're talented. And look at them defensively. Tied for the fifth fewest goals conceded, 41. Expectations were, okay, yeah, let's just develop guys, and if we win a couple games here and there, great. But no, these players want to win games. And if you ask me to describe this team, one word, and that's all I get, I would say team. They are a complete team. They've all bought into the team mentality. If one of us fail, we all fail. If one of us succeed, we all succeed. And that's down to Marlon LeBlanc and this coaching staff. And Marlon's a fantastic coach. And honestly, the Union are so lucky to have somebody of his caliber coaching an MLS Next Pro team. Very, very fortunate this organization is to have somebody like Marlon LeBlanc. A fantastic human being. You guys have heard some of his personality in his clips, just nothing but praise for this team. So happy with this team. It starts with the head coach. The culture that Marlon LeBlanc has created for this team. And that is huge. Building a team-first mentality. Some teams, it doesn't matter what sport. You have people who have egos get in the way of, your team goals, and things blow up in your face. But not this team. And it's so easy for that to happen too, right? Where all the attention's on Kevin Sullivan, where all these sponsorships, all these interviews, people want to talk to this kid. All the cameras are on him. But you know what? He doesn't let it faze him. He believes in the team first. And everything else will come second. And that's how every single one of these players are. And that's what you can tell by watching these kids on the field. And again, I said multiple times on this episode that I haven't watched a lot of Union 2 games, but when I have, I've never seen selfish play. It's always that team first mentality. And that's going to carry you very, very far. We talked about, players deserving of homegrown contracts. Having that mentality to work hard off the ball, have the mentality to work hard off the ball, to buy into the team first. That is going to get you very, very, very far in your career. And to learn that and to know that at a young age, that is very, very impressive. And it makes me proud to watch these guys. It makes me proud to cover them. And I guess I would say, right, before we play the last clip here, you've got to get out to a Union 2 game. This is going to be the last game this season at Subaru Park, because you have a final in the West of North Texas and St. Louis, and whoever wins that game is going to host the MLS Next Pro final. And so if you are missing Subaru Park, if you want to get back to the stadium one more time this season, get tickets to go out to watch the Eastern Conference Final. There is a trophy on the line. And these players deserve the coverage. These players deserve the fan support. And the fan support has been great all season long. The fan support has been great in the playoffs. And if you have no plans, why not come out and cheer these guys on? And so this is what Marlon LeBlanc and some of the players had to say for the support that they've had all season, the support they've had throughout the playoffs.
We have the best fans out there. I've made no bones about it. I'd have worn my Birch Brigade hoodie tonight if the referees wouldn't make me put a different color on top of it because it's blue. They are the reason why that crowd is like that. Those guys started like 2 or 3 of them and have literally put 3,000 people in the stands to support this team. And we talked about the groundswell, the organic nature of what they've done. Who's really interested in second team football? I think you guys are all here because of their efforts too. The fact that there's, 12, 15 people in this room talking to me after a second team game is pretty remarkable. The fact that we're talking about fan attendance at a second team game is pretty remarkable. And win or lose, those guys I think they were at Charlotte on one weekend, and then they were in New Hampshire to watch us play New England the very next day. That's incredible. All that said, I'd love for more people to jump on the bandwagon. And I said that to the guys. If we go out and we win today, maybe we get more people jumping on the bandwagon and more people show up next weekend. What an atmosphere that, 2,000-3,000 people can provide. Can you imagine if there was 15,000 in there like there was when we played Wrexham? We get a chance to play for a trophy in front of our fans, and they deserve it the most. And they get 100% credit for where we're at as a 12th man in a lot of ways, because what a home field advantage it is playing. Those PKs must have been hard for that team.
Even when we conceded the goal, like right after, their support was great, and you can see we go down and we have a few chances to maybe even win the game. So for all those people just to come out and want to watch us play, it really helps us out a lot, and we all really appreciate it.
It's amazing. Like every player could say it. When the fans come, it just riles us up, makes you want to play better, play for the fans. And they're coming here to see us. We got to put on a show for them, and it's great to have them here.
Yeah, I mean, you could hear there, and the voices of Andrew Rick and Markus Anderson, that over 2,000 fans have come out the last 2 playoff games to watch a second team. You heard Marlon LeBlanc talking about 12 or 15 of us in the press conference room after the game talking to him. He talked for 18 minutes. And yes, Marlon LeBlanc gives long-winded answers, which I appreciate. But that tells you how many people were in that room asking questions. How many people wanted to cover this game. And I'm sure there will be more coverage with them playing for a trophy. And my hope, my plea to say to you guys, the listeners, if you have nothing to do, absolutely, well, even if you have stuff to do, cancel those plans and come out to Subaru Park and support these players. Support this team. They deserve it. You guys heard in their voices that they love the support. They love the support. And one thing that's so cool after the game, just watching the players come running over, celebrating with the fans after the game, you can tell they enjoy it. And there's no egos. There is no egos on that field. And the support of the fans has been fantastic. Bridge Brigade, a supporters group that was started with like 3 people. Something that a couple friends said, why not? Let's get something started and watch it turn into 10, 20, 25 people. And then more and more fans coming out to the stadium. And it's so special. And Marlon LeBlanc talks about it, how the fans, they really are the 12th man pushing this group on. And I really hope that we could get 10,000. That would be awesome. 10,000 people in Subaru Park for an Eastern Conference final game in MLS Next Pro. That would be wonderful. It's going to be a hard ask. I think, the Union have to do the part too with marketing. But, man, it's going to be good weather once again. If you're missing Subaru Park, it's going to be your last chance this season to watch a game, a professional game out on that field that involves a Philadelphia Union team. So why not take advantage of that? Why not take advantage? And so, again, I'll leave links to that as well in the show description if you guys are on the fence. Don't be on the fence. Come out. Have a great time. And so I really enjoyed myself at a Union 2 game this weekend. And I wish that more games would be on the weekend. I kind of miss how the Bethlehem Steel used to do it, where the Union first team would play, and then right after they were done playing, the second team would play. Man, that was so much easier. And yes, you have to get MLS to decide to have games spread out, not just all the games played at 7:30, and maybe that changes next season. But one thing I am sure of, one thing I am certain of, these fans love your support. This coaching staff loves your support. And come on out. Experience a game for yourself. You will be hooked. I loved it. I love going to my third game this season, and it sucks that it all ends this weekend. And we hope to see Union 2 win this and go to their first final. That would be wonderful. But if you guys haven't subscribed to the podcast on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, follow @FreeKickPod. Check out the YouTube page, youtube.com/FreeKickPod, wherever you get your podcasts, The Free Kick, and check out the Substack, thefreekick.substack.com. And I will have one more episode talking about Union 2 on Sunday or Monday. We'll record that episode. I still owe you guys a top 10 saves video of the season. I'll get on that. I need to also get on writing my match recap of the Philadelphia Union 2 game. I'll put some clips in that game in there for you guys. If you guys didn't watch the game online on Apple TV, which is where you can watch the games. If you guys don't go to Subaru Park, it's where you've been watching Union games all season long. They also carry second team games. So would much rather see you guys there in person than watching on your TVs, on your phones, on your computers. But I completely understand if second team games aren't your thing. I get it. But this group's special, I'm telling you guys. So come out to Subaru Park, support these guys, and let's hope that we get to watch another Union team lift a trophy in person. Because with that said, my name is Todd, and this is the Free Kick Podcast.